I know you believe you can keep this up, but I assure you...
My God. ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございました。
So what's a guy have to do to date you?
He have to be over 6'4", make $5 million per year, take me out every day. I need access to all his credit cards, exclusive to me only. 830 credit score.
Yeah, nah, separate checks, please.
So this is the story. It's kind of making its rounds. I think I first heard of it maybe yesterday. Stephen A. Smith has an exchange with his daughter Samantha, sparks a heated debate. Now, up until he had this exchange, I really didn't even know he had a daughter. So, because I really don't follow Stephen A. Smith. The only time I kind of listen to him is when he's ranting about politics. And even then, a lot of times I don't really listen to him. I just, sometimes I'll listen to what he's saying. But most of the times I really don't pay him any mind. And I certainly don't listen to him when it comes to sports. I'm just not that interested. I have other important things to do. But I felt that this story was kind of important because it kind of reinforces my feelings about this next generation coming up. Generation Z, Generation Alpha. I really think that, hearing exchanges like this is important, especially for boomers, Generation Xers, and millennials. Because the crazy thing is they keep talking to us about this great wealth transfer. So they're saying that the boomers are going to pass down trillions of dollars to the next generation below it. So that's the Generation Xers, right? A lot of the boomers, have already basically started dying, and they've already started passing down wealth. And most of that wealth tends to be in the form of houses. Some of them, if you're lucky, it's a huge cash payment. If you're even luckier, maybe it's a house and a cash payment. Maybe you even inherit some stocks, some bonds, or whatever. But here you expect that if you're going to pass down all this wealth to the next generation, like if I'm going to give my children all of my wealth, you'd expect that at least the most that you can hope for is that your children do a decent job. They be good, they go through school, and they do things to make you as happy as they can possibly make you in your lifetime, right? Like, for example, even at my age, when I get certain things like rewards or I get awards or I get bonuses and everything, I tell my parents about it. And it makes them feel good. And, what is that? What does they say in the Bible? It says, honor thy father, thy mother, that days be longer. Well, a lot of these kids, first of all, you haven't brought these kids up in church, number one. A lot of these kids have not grown up in church. A lot of them don't even know the Bible. A lot of them don't know the Ten Commandments. And the problem is you're dealing with a corporatized, materialist culture. And all these kids think is that you're supposed to just give them, and they don't have to give anything in return. They think that they're just supposed to put their hands out and you're supposed to hand them a PlayStation 6 and hand them Grand Theft Auto 6. That's what they think. They think they put their hands out. You're supposed to hand them Nike Jordan sneakers, or you're supposed to hand them a brand new iPhone 17. And they don't really have to do anything for that. And the crazy thing to me is that when I compare the shit that these kids are getting now without doing anything to deserve, when I was a kid, we didn't have anything like that. Like in the 1980s, the most that you could hope for if you were a kid was to ask for a new bike or ask for a scooter or something like that. It's like even Nintendo didn't exist until a little bit later. Nintendo and Sega, it's like you weren't getting any of that until like closer to the 90s. And chances are it was probably your grandparents that were going to buy it for you because your parents probably couldn't afford it. And as time went on, things got even progressively more expensive. Like I knew not to ask my parents for Neo Geo because I had some concept of money and I'm like, wait a minute, this thing costs so much that there's no way that my parents can afford that. So I'm not even going to put them in the position of asking for it. And there were certain, how should I say, there was certain like boundaries. Like there was certain shit that I was never going to ask for. If I wanted a new bike, yeah, I'd ask for it. I wanted a super duper double looper, that race car set. Yeah, I asked for that. That was like $55. Adjusted for inflation, maybe it was like $150 today. Maybe, adjusted for inflation. My grandparents got me a Nintendo Entertainment System, and I had the Power Pad, I had the Duck Hunt gun, and I had the 3-game cartridge like Super Mario, Duck Hunt, and Track Me, right? But even then, back then, that was like $300 at most. It was like maybe $200 from like service merchandise, between $200 and $300. Adjusted for inflation, that was maybe like $800 or $900 or something. And every kid wanted it, so most kids were going to ask for it. And then as time went on, it's like, you ask for things like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures and Thundercats and stuff like that. But nowadays, these bastards, they demand shit that, like, first of all, they're asking for cell phones. First, understand something. No parent should ever buy their kid a cell phone at all. The only cell phone that they should get their kid is one of those emergency little bullshit phones that you get from CVS, where it's for children specifically, and it only dials mommy, daddy, fire department, or the police, and that's it. So if you that worried about your kid getting kidnapped, all you got to do is put that little bullshit in their pocket, and if something happens to them, all they got to do is hit one button and it automatically dials the number. This whole nonsense about having smartphones, I believe it was Spain, Australia, parts of the UK. They have recently banned these kids from having access to these social medias, which I think I totally applaud. Because as you know me, I was totally against TikTok. And that idiot, Donald Trump, put TikTok back into effect after we got rid of it. And by doing that, as far as I'm concerned, every single TikTok-related injury or death should be attributed to him. Because we banned it, and this idiot put it back into service. But you know what? I ain't even going to worry about it because I'm not stupid enough to do anything on there. Nobody I know is stupid enough to do anything on there and get hurt. And he's going to be out of office soon. I'm just counting down the days, this moron. So anyway, that said, a lot of these parents are spoiling these goddamn kids, and then they're surprised when the kids finally turn on them because the kids themselves know that they can't afford nothing. The kids know that they're never going to be able to buy nothing. I've been saying this over and over and over. It's just like with this situation with this woman who shot that kid who's 20 years old with her 13-year-old daughter. The simple fact is, these kids, they will do stuff. They have no fear of authority. They really have no sense of responsibility. Because as far as I'm concerned, that 20-year-old, they can call him special needs. They can say whatever they want. He should have known the law, but the daughter should have also known the law. So at 13, in these schools, they literally tell these kids the law. Oh, you're not supposed to be with someone of a certain age. You're not supposed to be with somebody who's 18. But what's funny to me is that these young girls are so fast, and it needs to be said, they're so fast now that they're the ones who keep trying to come up with caveats and loopholes to get around the law. The Romeo and Juliet law, they keep trying to bring up the bullshit. Oh, well, if he's just a year older than me, it's okay. I've had conversations with girls who've been dating boys who are way older than they should have been. And even when I bring it up, they act as if there's something wrong with me. The girls, not the boys. The girls act, oh, well, he's in college and I'm in high school. I'm a high school senior, but he's in college. And I'm like, wait a minute. He's too old for you. Oh, well, that's not a big deal. So listen, hoes want to be hoes, and you're not going to be stopping hoes from being hoes. It's just that simple. This dude, 20 years old, he should have known better. He shouldn't have been there, and it cost him his life. But the mother committed murder. So the thing about it is, all three of them were wrong, But I feel that there's a problem that the law is going to say, oh, yeah, well, only 2 of them face responsibility to the law because they're of age. Listen, if you can charge people as adults for mass murders, you should be able to charge people as adults for sleeping with older people when they knew damn well they weren't supposed to be. Because the thing about it is, I think it's unfair that it only goes one way. I think everybody's responsible. And you can take that how you want it. I don't give a shit. But that's what I believe. Now, as far as Stephen A. Smith, if he's lucky, he's not going to end up like Lawrence Fishburne, who's got a daughter who's a spoiled brat who decides that she's going to disrespect her father. And you know how Lawrence Fishburne, what's her name? Montana Fishburne? You know how Lawrence Fishburne's daughter gets down. All you got to do is type in her name and the XXX vids start popping up. I feel so bad for Lawrence Fishburne for having a daughter. You know, if he had a son, I doubt that things would have gone this direction. But I find it ironic. Lawrence Fishburne starred as Morpheus in The Matrix, offering us the blue pill or the red pill. And the problem is this dude, while he's got his hand out, he's got that red pill in his hand, he's got this 304 daughter shaking her ass and doing lasciviousness on camera. And when I'm listening to Stephen A. Smith's, like, I don't think she's joking. Stephen A. Smith's daughter basically told him, oh, yeah, I'm putting your ass in a home, right? What's the story say? It says Stephen A. Smith and his daughter Samantha seem to have sparked a heated debate among millions after their recent exchange on a new episode of the popular show Straight Shooter. What seemed to be a fun and lighthearted banter between the father and daughter has now sparked outrage among fans. What did NBA... Okay, it says, in the last few hours, NBA analyst Stephen A. Smith and his daughter Samantha discussed how she would take care of him when he grows old. And her answer was basically, no, I'm not going to. It says, Stephen A. Smith was heartbroken after his daughter Samantha told him that she won't let him live in her house when he's older, and she plans to put him in a nursing home instead. See, that shit right there would have me immediately going to my will to write her ass out of it. That right there. In my house with my kids and my car, you don't want me... Wait, so you're telling me I'm your father, you don't want me near your kids. That's hurtful enough. But you don't want me near your car? Excuse me, where's my will and my estate planner? I gotta write this bitch out of my shit. It's just that simple. I'd be reaching for my will. Where's my pen? Where's my felt tip pen? Let me write this bitch out my will. And I say it just like that. If you got a problem with it, I don't give a fuck. Anyway, where is this? It says, so why can't I be near your car? Like, I don't understand that. So you're saying I can't be near your kids, but I can't be near your car? That's disrespectful. As far as I'm concerned, you're getting written off. So with your house and your car, good luck affording it working at fucking McDonald's when they replace you with robots. Because you're not getting a dime out of me. In fact, I'm about to kick your ass out of my house now. So where are we? Let's see. What's this?
You need to find me my own house.
What?
You really are on drugs.
You need to find me an Amex card. You need to find me more clothes. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much to build. Like how you said, you're still going up. We can go up together. This doesn't have to be a you thing. It can be a we thing.
And then when I'm older and I have nothing.
Nursing home.
And I need you to take care of me.
Nursing home.
You can't do that.
She says that shit without dropping a dime. Like, when I'm older, before he even finishes the R on the older, she's already saying you're going into a nursing home. I've got older parents. I've got older parents who have geriatric issues, but I've never said no shit like that to their face. I might joke with them and say something like that, but I've never even done that. And I'm of means. I have my own. They did everything they could to make sure that I could work and have my. First of all, right now, I'm overseas. I'm 9,000 miles away from home. I'm right now in Cambodia and Vietnam on vacation. Right now, I'm laying up in a luxury hotel right now. And I'm doing this response video because I ain't got nothing else to do right now. I'll have stuff to do later, but right now, I'm just chilling. I have means, but I would never say no shit like that to my parents. I would never say something like that. Even if in the back of my mind, I intended to put them both into a nursing home. I would never say no shit like that, especially on live television. And, oh, you need to find me a car. I will put your ass in a cardboard box on the street. And, an Amex card, I will hand you one of the government's finest EBT cards. And you'll be lucky to be eating Cheerios with Frosted Flakes. Are you freaking kidding me?
Nursing
You're not
home.
going to do that.
2 words, Dad.
Nursing home. So you'd put your dad in a nursing home.
Nursing home. Well, what else would I do? Take care of you myself?
How about that? Or put me in your home and have 24-hour nursing assistant.
In my house?
Yeah, why not?
With my kids?
Now, what's ironic about this is just like he brought up, well, why can't I be in your house and have 24-hour nursing assistants? So what he said, see, the problem is, and that's a talk that old people don't have with young people enough. And my parents have mentioned stuff like that to me, but it's a talk that young people, old people do not want to have. No young person wants to have to consider the fact that they might have to wash their parents' bodies, their parents' nude bodies when they get older. No young person wants to consider the fact that when their parents get older and infirmed and they're in that hospital bed, that they're going to see parts of their parents that they never wanted to see and they never should see. But when your parents get older and your parents are frail little skeletons in the bed, you're going to see all types of shit that you ain't supposed to see and that you didn't expect to see. And the problem is, you're not mentally prepared for it. You haven't talked about it, some of you. But it's just one of those facts of life. And the thing about it is, Stephen A. Smith has enough money. He's worth over $80 million. He's worth enough money where he can buy a fucking nursing home. He can buy the whole nursing home. He can easily say, oh yeah, well, I'm going to buy a house large enough where I'll live with you and I'll just be in this part of the house, in this wing of the house, and I'll have a nurse and a maid and they'll just clean me up. Like Stephen A. Smith, I mean, you got to understand, the average one of these home attendants, they are licensed and they are trained to strip your parents naked, to wash your parents' ass, to wash your old mama's scooch, to wash your daddy's ass, and to clean up the perineum between his balls and his nutsack or whatever it is. And they're trained to do that. And they're just trained to do that. Now, he has enough money where he could buy top quality nurses cause see, if it was me and if I didn't have a good job and everything, if I had to be like one of those nurses, a home care attendant, I would have like a power sprayer. And even if you had diarrhea dookie all over yourself, I would have my power sprayer and I would power spray your body clean. And every single time I would treat you just like one of my cars. Like I would power soap you down, and then I would power spray your ass clean to the point where even the smallest pieces of shit would still find their way down the drain because I would be power spraying your whole body off. Stephen A. Smith has enough money where he can afford to have a professional for the rest of his life give him sitz baths and to power spray him down. But she doesn't even consider that because as far as she's considered, no, I'm just taking your money. I'm taking your money and I'm going on about my business. That shit burns me up when I think about that shit. That shit pisses me off. It absolutely pisses me off. It burns me up. Let's see.
And my car? And my husband? And my pool?
You're going to be in a
and my
fucking
guest
Honda
room?
Accord
your
when
dad.
I'm finished with you.
Exactly.
The one that made it all possible.
I would love you from a distance, Dad. You know I
Love you from a distance.
We better that way. You my heart, though.
Can we leave now? Can you just say goodbye to the audience? Because I'm done. I'm done with this.
I had a great time here with you guys. You know, as always, it really matters that we get to spend this time together. I would love to come back soon, so make sure that you spam the comments, find his email, spam that too. Get me back on.
By the way, why does it say official Samantha A. Smith?
Thank you so much for bringing that up. That's so selfless of you. That's my Instagram. You guys should go drop a follow.
Hold it. Why does it have to be official? Why could it just say Samantha A. Smith?
Because when I saw your username and yours was just Stephen A. Smith, I was like, that's basic. I need to do official so they know I'm not here to play like you are.
All right, so I guess you see where this is going. And the thing about it is, I've been not shy to talk about it. I've got this kind of shit in my family. In fact, I think a lot of us as Americans, I think we have this in our family. First of all, one of the things I like about Asia, like right now I'm in Cambodia and Vietnam, and I'll be returning to Japan pretty soon, within the next couple of weeks. And one of the things I like about Asia, with the exception of modern day feminism tearing Asia apart, one of the things I have to say that I like about Southeast Asia, where you don't see this modern day feminism because down here they ain't got no welfare state, so they can't afford it. But feminism is tearing the families apart. But what I have to say that I like about these Asian people is that they have a full plan for their family. So the way it typically works, and one of the reasons why the marriages were arranged is because they expect the entire family to approve of whoever is marrying into the family. With an arranged marriage, you get a husband who you approve of as a family. And the way it's supposed to work is when the parents, the father and the mother, when they're working, the grandparents take care of the grandchildren. So you have as many children as you want. And this is the reason why Asia was able to procreate so much and their numbers were able to grow so much up until feminism started fucking them up. While the parents are at work, the grandparents are home taking care of the grandkids. So that right there was something you didn't have to worry about. Now, right now, in New York City, you got Mayor Mamdani, Zoran Mamdani. And by the way, as far as I'm concerned, he's doing a great job. Netanyahu is lucky that I'm not Zoran Mamdani because I wouldn't announce what I was planning to do to you before I did it. But anyway, in New York, there's a lot of concern over government-run childcare. So there's positions opening up for what they call 3K, and then they got pre-K, and they got obviously kindergarten, right? Now my problem is I'm trying to figure out who are they finding who can deal with kids as young as the kids who they expect to be coming into these early childhood situations. Because the way I see it is those kids shouldn't be in school. Those kids should be home with their parents. And if not with their parents, they should be home with their grandparents. But the problem that we have as Americans is they've destroyed the family unit to the point where you can't even be certain that you have a father or a mother around who can take care of these kids. And just because they claim that they can take care of these kids doesn't mean that they're capable of properly providing for these kids. So now you're in one of those situations where the libertarians will be like, oh, well, we don't want government nursing us from cradle to the grave. But here's the other problem. You don't have a plan B. So think about it like this. Dropping your elderly parent into a nursing home is kind of like dropping your early childhood child into one of these fucking 3Ks. Because what you're basically doing is you're putting it off on either the government or you're putting it off on some private corporation to take care of this person. And you don't want to deal with it. You want nothing to do with it. You're like, listen, just send me the bill and I'll take care of it, but just don't call me because I've got other things to do. And that to me is inhumane, but it is what it is. So I've got the same situation. Like, I talk about it every now and then. I've got fathers in my family with spoiled ass daughters, cousins of mine. And once the daughters realize that there's only but so much that they're going to get out of the father, that's when they start backing off and they start distancing themselves. But in my case, here you got this new generation, Generation Z, Generation Alpha. These kids are a dumpster fire. They can't first of all, they're not educated enough to hold down most jobs. They're not educated enough. They are not disciplined enough to hold down most jobs. So they have trouble just holding down a job. That's number one. Number two, the government itself, which I consider the welfare state is the problem. But the welfare state, as far as they're concerned, they just want you having children because they need more fresh bodies. As far as they're concerned, the health of the state is live births. So the government keeps interfering by, giving them shit like apartments and giving them welfare money, EBT cards and all this shit. And the thing about it is these kids, what they'll do is they'll use their flesh and blood parents. They'll use them for whatever they can get out of them while they're simultaneously trying to figure out a way to get into one of these government shelters or one of these government subsidized apartments. And the reality is most of them, they're not even disciplined enough to hold down the job necessary to keep them in the government subsidized apartment. It's disgusting. I mean, it's like, what is your worth? You're like worthless. It's like you can't work. You can't hold a job. So what good are you? It's like you're worthless, basically. But that's what they've done. They've broken down the family unit to make it so that the government has more power to deal with people. And eventually, you're going to be cradled to a grave being dealt with by government, eventually. And that's just the way it is. So this whole thing about, dropping your parents into a nursing home, I mean, with that kind of money that he's got, that shouldn't even be a conversation. He's got enough money where I'm pretty sure in the back of his mind, he's like, I've got X amount of money squared away so that I can make sure that when I'm old and decrepit, I can make sure that they're taken care of me. Somebody's taking care of me. If you pay people enough, somebody will take care of you. It's just that simple. $80 million, you got to understand, $80 million? $80 million. That's a lot of freaking money. That's a lot of money. And to tell you the truth, I would make every dime of that money would go into my retirement plan rather than into this little 304's pocket. So she's worried about all the money that she's going to inherit off of Stephen A. Smith. All of my money would be going to my retirement plan. So I would be in a nursing home with a gold crown and the Game of Thrones fucking throne, a golden throne. I'd be in the old folks' home with a throne, a gold crown, and nothing you can do about it because I got $80 million and you don't. It's just I'd buy the nursing home. I'd buy the whole nursing home. I employ you. I'd buy the whole nursing home, and everybody be like, "Hey, wait a minute, whose chair is that over there? Why is that chair a golden throne with knives and shit pointed out of it?" They'd be like, "Oh yeah, well that's the owner's throne." Because he's an elderly man and he decided that he wanted to be a king and he just had enough money, so there's nothing we can do about it. And I would have them people giving me, I would have the softest soaps and the most precious colognes and fucking perfumes being put on my body, and I would hire nothing but young women, and I'd have a bunch of young women cleaning me up, wiping my butt, cleaning everything. My perineum, cleaning my testicles off. I'd have nothing but young women just cleaning me up and I would only get the best of care for $80 million. Shit, I could do it for half that, and there's nothing you can do about it. And while Samantha is sitting back, oh gee, I wonder how much I'm going to inherit when this old fart finally dies. It's like I'd be spending that money real time, baby. I'd be having caviar and champagne every single day. And you're, Gramps, you don't want to spend all that money, Gramps. You know what? You can't take it with you. So yeah, I'm gonna spend it right now. So I'll have a beach and a pool at my old folks' home because I'm gonna build it in Florida. And I got $80 million. Yeah, I can build it right there. And, we got other people there, but they don't have as much money as me, so they can't say nothing. And that's it. I'd be official nobility until I die. And you're waiting there trying to figure out how much money you're going to get from me when I'm gone. It's like you'll be lucky to get pennies if you're lucky. If you're lucky. But this is disgusting. This is disgusting. And I've been saying the same thing. Some of these parents, y'all spoil these goddamn kids as if y'all are like tarantulas and you're birthing them and you're leaving your body there so that you could be eaten by them as their first nutrition. Like it's called matrophagy and patrophagy. When the mother sacrifices her physical body so that she could be eaten by the fucking kids. That's called matrophagy. But then, if the father does it, that's patrophagy. But you don't see many fathers doing no stupid shit like that. But more and more I am. A lot of these fathers are simps. If you're a father and your daughter's older than 30 and she's still sleeping in your house, you're a simp. You should have kicked her ass out. She should be living either under her own roof or she should have a husband and she should be living under his roof. See, that's really the problem. This whole anti-marriage thing, these women wouldn't be so anti-marriage if it wasn't for their simp fathers. Their simp fathers paying their way. Do you realize that there are 45, 46-year-old women who are still getting their cell phone bills paid for by their parents? That's disgusting. And I'll be perfectly honest. Even the men. There are men who are still living with their parents who are getting all their bills paid for by their parents at 40 plus. That's disgusting. That shouldn't be. Listen, everybody has a right to do what they want with their money. But when you start messing with the actual cycle and the gear system of the country, because now things aren't getting done because you got a bunch of people who are not working because they just don't want to work, because they're laying up in bed with their parents playing fucking video games. Or you've got these daughters who are in daddy's attic, single, childless, unmarried. And then there's the flip side. Maybe they're a bunch of single mamas. They live with their parents. At 40 plus, it's like something seriously wrong with that. Oh, but it's the economy. No. The economy is what you make of it. It's like, yeah, there's still rent out there. There's still apartments for rent. You don't need to be up there with your parents at 40 years old. Something seriously wrong there. But hey, listen, it's your money. You can do whatever you want with it. I'm just telling you, you're the problem. That's it. I'm just telling you the problem. But this Stephen A. Smith thing, the thing that bothers me about this is I see this very same behavior. I see this very same behavior locally. I see it in my family. I see it in other families. And I'm like, when I hear shit like this, I'm like, when are you going to wake up and tell this person you're not going to leave them a fucking dime and you're going to take your money and you're going to use your money for your retirement and they're not going to see a dime of it? When are you going to do that? And you know what? But let me tell you the truth. You know what the truth of the matter is? A lot of these parents are scared of their kids. This is one of the reasons why I have constantly said, where are the statistics of matricide and patricide? I want to know how many of these kids are killing their parents off. And I know that the number is rising because you turn on the news, you hear, oh yeah, this mother tried to take PlayStation from her son and he put a bullet in her. Or this daughter, the mother tried to take her cell phone and the daughter stabbed her to death. It's like, I know the rates are increasing, but I've never seen the government publish any statistics on it. So if you know where to get those statistics, maybe it's the Disease and Health Center. I have no idea. But I'd like to see those statistics because I know the numbers they're going up and nobody's talking about it. And I also believe matricide and patricide rates are going to increase mostly over real estate disputes. Just like this girl, 13 years old, with this 20-year-old boyfriend, and the mom shot the boyfriend. Just like that. In that case, it was a murder. But what was it over? It was over her being in her mama's house, and her mama wasn't having it. A lot of these parents try to play that strong role. Oh, yeah, well, if you're under my roof, I'm not having it. You can't do certain things. Next thing you know, they're surprised when they find a knife in their back. Or they're surprised when their kid kills them. Or they act surprised. And this has happened so many times. And then when you get to the older generations, a lot of these older people who have property, they got kids conspiring to steal that shit. Or they got kids conspiring to take it from them. I know the rates are going up and nobody's saying nothing about it. So the bottom line is, if you are a person like Stephen A. Smith, you got yourself some money, and you got these spoiled brat bastard kids, you better watch your back. Because sooner or later, there's going to be a knife in it. Speaking of destruction of the nuclear family, there was this other story that I wanted to add in. Growing trend of hating men seems to backfire as anti-marriage movement leaves single women losing out. So first of all, one of the things that these single women counted on was they counted on the fact that the government was going to be there to give them their EBT cards, their welfare, to give them Section 8 housing, to give them government housing, whatever it is, shelters, apartments, whatever. That's what they were counting on. But in the age of Donald Trump, they can't count on that stuff because Trump's economy, as far as I'm concerned, his very economy is a war on women. They thought everything was going to be fine. What they didn't think was that unaffordability, high inflation, high cost of living, they didn't think that all those things were going to conspire to literally screw them up. They just didn't think about that. So here you go. It says a growing anti-marriage movement is being fueled by viral TikTok trends and high-profile celebrities painting men as the enemy. But according to a new column, women may ultimately be the ones losing out. No. Women are the ones losing out. You see, the problem is men have always traditionally done dangerous, difficult, and dirty jobs. You'll never see women building any bridges. You'll never see a bunch of women digging tunnels or sewers or trains or anything. Men do all of that. Like, I look out my window right now. Now, right now, I'm in Cambodia, and I'm looking out this window, and there's a building which is about to be a brand new luxury high-rise hotel. Guess who I see working over there? Men. No women. Men. That's it. No matter where you go, men do the dangerous, difficult, and dirty jobs. It's just that simple. So men can easily get work while women can't. Men, if I desperately need a job, all they got to do is put a shovel in my hand and say, yeah, go over there and dig something. And I can do that job. I might not get paid a lot for it, but you get the federal minimum wage of like $17 an hour or whatever it is. Women can't just as easily do that. See, women, first of all, they can't do those jobs. They don't want to do those jobs, and they refuse to do those type of jobs. So when you put those three things together, what it means is that what I'm looking for is a cushy office job where I barely do anything and I never break my nails. These $130 nails with these stupid designs where I can barely type. So don't ask me to do any typing either, because I can't really do that. It says in a USA Today op-ed, columnist Ingrid Jock warned of a rising wave of hetero-pessimism defining it as women's growing feelings of disappointment and antagonism towards relationships with men. She argued that viral trends like divorce glow-ups and anti-male literature have actively widened the divide between the sexes. The divorce glow-ups are these idiots who jump online and act as if they're re-advertising themselves. Oh yeah, I just got divorced and I'm back on the market. You people are losers. It's like you're old. Nobody's checking for that. You're old. What is it? It says 2/3 of single parents say the post-breakup glow-up is real, and another 82% feel like their best days are still ahead of them. Yeah, whatever. It says a poll of 1,000 single moms and 1,000 single dads revealed that many had no clue what awakenings were in store following the end of their relationship with their child's other parent. 2/3 of single parents reported a post-breakup glow-up or period of time where their true self comes to light. Yeah, okay. Anyway, studies show that married women are not only happier but also live longer and earn more than their single counterparts. She explained that the media modern women consume is increasingly hostile towards traditional relationships, pointing to best-selling books like Yesteryear, which centers on a trad wife influencer. In that novel, Jock notes men are reduced to lazy or toxic tropes. Either a man is an idiotic man-baby who lacks emotion or ambition and a brain, or he's a quintessential patriarch who pals around other sexist pigs in the manosphere. Husbands are at one point referred to as freaks. Now, I got to click on this manosphere one because I want to see what that says. It says why women don't want to date a red pill man. Yeah, of course not, because red pill men aren't going to go for your bullshit, and they're not going to let you get away with nonsense. As soon as they see the red flags, you're going to the corner. Okay, it says on Amazon, the book's description includes a gripping, electrifying novel that is as darkly funny as it is frightening. Yesteryear is a gimlet-eyed look at tradition, fame, faith, and the grand performance of womanhood. The trend coincides with falling U.S. marriage and birth rates. Official U.S. Census Bureau data from December shows that just 47% of American households in 2025 were married couples, down from nearly 66% 50 years ago. Of those married households, only 37% included their own children under 18, compared to 54% in 1975. Okay, they have a picture of this black guy. It looks like he's proposing to Maria. And Maria is saying, no, I don't want the ring. I don't believe that this is... I don't know who these people are, but obviously this is like, it could be AI for all I know. But anyway, Jacques linked the shift directly to liberal ideology, noting that left-leaning Americans choose to opt out of traditional family lifestyles far more often than conservatives. Wherever you look these days, women who free themselves from the chains of marriage are being celebrated. She highlighted cultural figures who publicly champion singlehood or life after divorce, including Eat, Pray, Love author Elizabeth. This shit's put me to sleep. In April, comedian Leslie Jones. Now, first of all, before we talk about Leslie Jones, I need you to pull up a picture of Leslie Jones. I refuse to do it because I value the glass on my screen. Leslie Jones is ugly. Like, first of all, she's old. Now, when you're old, you already got that against you as a strike that you're not removing, right? She's ugly. She is, the proper term for ugly is she's, not sexually attractive. Leslie Jones is ugly. She looks gorilla-y. Like a gorilla, but she looks kind of like a gorilla, so gorilla-y ugly. She looks terrible. Like, even when they dress her up, she looks terrible. And she's just not sexy at all. Now, she's come out and she's tried to attack men. I don't know if that was part of her comedy routine or what, but she's not funny either. So, they're trying to put... It's funny how they force people on us that we're not interested in. They force them on us. Like, if there's a movie that they think that we want to go see, you'll find out that this person's in the movie and you really don't want to see them in the movie, but you want to see the movie itself. So she got into Ghostbusters, and it was just not. It wasn't. I went and I saw it. I actually saw the movie. It really sucked, and wasn't funny. And the Ghostbusters was a movie that used to be a comedy movie. They tried to turn it into a spooky horror movie, but it's not even a scary movie. It's not scary. It's supposed to be funny, but it sucked. And Leslie Jones was partially to blame. So the reality is, I don't know why she's out here talking about relationships. Like, why is it? You know who told the truth? Who used to tell the truth about this situation where you've got completely not attractive women out there trying to be influencers? George Carlin was one. Sam Kinison was a second one. And Richard Pryor was another. And I believe in their exact words, which I can't really repeat because of YouTube, the algorithm and their anti-free speech. He says, why is it that the women who are mostly against relationships are women you wouldn't want to F in the first place? And that's the sad thing about it. It's like, who cares what she thinks? But anyway, it says, comedian Leslie Jones criticized marriage, saying that most people she knew who got married are now divorced, and argued that marriage is legalized slavery. No. Marriage is not legalized slavery. Okay, so you got another picture here. You got this woman here. Apparently she's being propositioned for marriage. She's like, no, I don't think she's being propositioned for marriage because I don't see a ring. But it says the columnist linked the declining rates to how left-leaning Americans are less likely to participate in traditional family values. Okay. A 2024 American Family Survey found that 37% of conservative women and 28% of moderate women between the ages of 18 and 40 reported being completely satisfied with their lives. However, liberal women of the same age reported only 12% feeling the same way. The sentiment has also taken over social media through trends like the TikTok divorce glow-up, where women post before and after photos celebrating their split. Jock noted that in these videos, the women typically look happier and more radiant in the after photo. I'm pretty sure that was their plan, and maybe they are. I mean, if they get into one of these relationships and they get out and they're supposedly able to siphon off a large amount of a person's assets, some of them are happy. It's funny. You got to understand, a lot of these women, a lot of them become homeowners simply through divorce. They literally take the house from the man. Or a lot of them get enough money out of the men in order to be able to do things with it that they normally would have never been able to do. Citing Louise Perry, author of The Case Against the Sexual Revolution, Jock argued that young women are being alienated after getting burned by hookup culture. So yeah, young women are finding themselves in a situation where men don't want to date them at all. Men don't want to date them, men don't want to be around them, men don't want to marry them, so forth and so on. In fact, I can click on that. It says they were burned by the hookup culture and lacking real friendships with the opposite sex. Okay, let me click on that real quick. It says Generation Z has surprising stance on marriage and they think their beliefs are more exciting. It says sex with strings attached. It's how Generation Z prefer to get down and dirty. According to a new survey, which shockingly found that today's increasingly conservative 20-somethings can't stand one-night stands, unlike millennials who were totally down to hit it and quit it 20 years ago. And when it comes to settling down and tying the knot, the Z's are way more on board with traditional values than kids of the Y2K were in the 2000s. Okay, but Generation Z's willingness to forego unmeaningful flings to instead say I do isn't due to the conservative persuasion. It's simply rooted in their interest in leading more exciting lives than previous generations. I don't know. I guess a lot of this remains to be proven. It It says Jacques argued that, like Perry, returning to marriage, not abandoning men altogether, is the remedy for the cultural divide. Returning to marriage, you're not going to get a lot of them returning to marriage until they realize it's too late. Once they realize it's too late, that's when all of a sudden they throw their hands up. Oh, yeah, I'm a pick me. I want to be married. It's like, no. First of all, you're invisible. And second of all, the answer is no. That won't be true for everyone, of course, Jock concluded. But men and women need to find a way back to each other. Discounting marriage won't get them there. So the question that they really need to ask, and it's the question that you'll never, ever, ever get an answer to. Why should men get married? That's the question. So what they try to do is they try to point statistics, and they try to say men who get married are typically healthier and typically happier or whatever. The problem is when they look at the statistics, they say things like they said in the story, that the women are unhappy and the women don't live as long. Because part of what they try to say is that a lot of these marriages end in murder, where the husband murders the wife. So they're trying to say that the women aren't living as long because they're being killed by their significant other. So honestly, I can't dispute that. If you're going to talk about the stats, I can't dispute that. Maybe the question they should ask is, why are your husbands killing you? That's the questions you should ask. Because let's say it like this. Let's say the husband comes home and he finds you cheating with another man. Yeah, you just might get killed. Now, should that go into the statistics and be, oh yeah, well, you shouldn't get married because women live longer if they don't get married? It's like, well, if you weren't cheating on your husband, he wouldn't have killed you. And if he hadn't killed you, then this wouldn't be a stat. Right? And that's, the sad thing is, that's part of what they point to. Then the other question you should be asking, what do women bring to the table? And as soon as you ask that, that's when the entire conversation turns offensive and defensive. And it's like, oh, I am the table. And it's like, listen, if you're bringing to the table some other man's kids, because chances are you were screwing around when you were younger and you got pregnant, now you got some other man's kids. Yeah, that's really not a table that we really want to sit at. So you're going to have a hard time getting dudes to line up for marriage if the table is poorly kept or broken. You're going to have a hard time finding dudes to line up for that. You're going to have a hard time. But that's what you're offered. And if that's what you're offered, that's what you have to choose from, then what choice do you really have? So, but you got to understand, all of these stories are popping up for one simple reason. It's because the government is scared that they're running out of people. You've got these anti-immigration policies and you have these anti-immigration movements trying to keep these immigrants out of here. Those immigrants normally will come here, they'll have a bunch of children, and the government's happy with them. The problem is the people aren't. So the issue you have to think, and you have to really, really consider, the issue you have to think about, why should men get married and why should women get married? And if you just ask why should they get married, that will give you all the information you need to understand as to why they're not getting married. Because they're looking at it and they're like, wait a minute, I don't want to deal with this used woman and another man's kids. If the men are coming into these relationships and they're facing women who are far more sexually experienced than they are, then the men are going to back away. They'll be like, listen, I don't want nothing to do with this. You know, ironically, it works kind of opposite for the women. The women like men with sexual experience because they're basically screwing a small group of men. If you have more women sexual experience than you have men, then what ends up happening is you realize that they're sharing a small group of men. That small group of men is the one who are impregnating the majority of these women. But even that small group of men doesn't want to comply anymore because the problem is they're getting hit for child support and they're getting financially ruined behind it. So even they're backing away. The Pookies, the Ray Rays, the Super Chads, they're backing away. So there you are. There you have it. So you got these women who are angry and upset, just like this one in this picture. And she'll look like she's about to fight. Like she'll look like she's about to reach out and throw a punch. That's what she looked like. If I saw some woman staring at me across the table like that, I'd probably have my guard up. I'd be like, yeah, I think she's about to throw a punch over this table. But that's just what it is. She look like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the face. She look like she got a steel jaw. But I don't know. So, it gets rough out there. It's getting rough out there. It's getting really rough out there. But those are the questions all you have to ask. What do you bring to the table? Why should I get married? That's it. Just leave it at that. So, yeah, those are the two stories that I saw that I wanted to say something about. So that's what I did. And, yeah, I'm just going to throw this together, compile this, and upload it. So you can put your questions, comments, and criticisms in the comment section.
What are your standards?
He needs to be making over $1 million per month, be 6'7", be loyal only to me, dark skin, and he has to be a religious man.
Okay, what do you offer?
Well, I'm a strong, independent lady.
Separate checks, please. Yes, sir.
Off me. You're a hard man to kill.
Your gun isn't under there.
You dirty bitch.
Sick of you treat me like shit.
My truce is with you. But it's a cold day in hell before I let a bottom bitch stab me in the back and then live to tell the story.
Damn, we go through this every fucking night.
To be continued.